I am back once again to share another Providence Trial gold medal guide for Risk of Rain returns. In these videos, I do my best to explain the trial, break down my own personal run, and share with you any tips I have learned along the way so that you too can achieve the gold. Today we are continuing on with another Huntress Trial, this one called Blades in the Wind. Blades in the Wind is a rather straightforward trial that unlocks Huntress's alternate secondary ability, Laser Cyclone, if you are able to defeat at least one toxic beast boss. Taking that a step further, you will earn the gold crown ranking if you are able to defeat 3 of the toxic beast bosses, the last of which is an elite version. During this challenge, you will begin with 120 max HP, 1 hardlight afterburner rare item, and access to only Huntress's secondary and utility skills, meaning that her primary and special skills are locked. Now this type of trial I would categorize more as an arena or survival type of challenge, where you are not being timed or moving through a large level and memorizing routes, you are simply killing enemies and staying alive on this one screen. Though, I promise that this one is not as bad as a trial like Danger Orbits, for example. While there is some RNG involved, it will come down more to how well you are able to maneuver and utilize Laser Cyclone. I did spend some time on this trial, and it will definitely require you getting comfortable with learning how to kite the bosses. For that reason, I would say this one is slightly above average as far as difficulty goes, but nothing crazy. With it being this type of trial, and not having a route to break down step by step, I will do my best to give you some pointers and then show you my own gold medal run afterwards. To begin with, the main idea is to throw out a single Laser Cyclone and let it boomerang back and forth while you stay in basically the same spot, playing jump rope over it so that you don't accidentally pick it back up. The bosses will not be able to hurt you with their bodies if you are on these middle platforms, and they will follow a similar back and forth route underneath you. This means that your Cyclone is going to be lining up with the boss's movements, doing massive amounts of damage, and this is ideally how to beat this trial. You don't want to be running around on the sides or hopping between the vent boosters, as this will result in very little boss damage. If you accidentally catch your Cyclone, just run around and throw it back out when the cooldown is up. Also, you want to try to avoid the ground level as much as possible, since here the bosses can do huge amounts of damage to you. When a toxic beast summons the smaller boars, you'll want to continue to kite with your Laser Cyclone and let it take care of them while you play keep away, as these guys can do decent damage as well. If you do start taking damage, you can pick up the little money containers since they should provide a small heal. Don't forget to use your 3-charge blink skill if you need to quickly dodge something or get somewhere fast. When the first and second beasts go down, very quickly grab the 2 items that they drop and then use a vent boost to get back up top. I like to also buy another item at these moments, as I usually have enough time and money to do so in between their deaths. I don't recommend collecting all of the cash containers right away, this will waste some of the heals you might need later. Feel free to buy whichever item you can afford, all of them are likely going to be helpful to you. Eventually you will get to the 3rd toxic beast, who is way more deadly and takes longer to deal with. Do your best to continue dodging enemies and jumping over your Cyclone. Your rocket items should automatically take care of a lot of the alternate enemies, like the grandparents, so just keep kiting above all else. With the first 2 bosses, I tried to stay in the middle as much as possible, but by this time you'll need to be moving non-stop between the platforms to keep the extra enemies away. Keep in mind that there is no timer, so your health bar is by far the most important thing. Do not try to take any unnecessary risks and be super patient. Let me go ahead and play my gold medal run from the beginning. Don't forget that the beasts run side to side directly underneath you, so ideally you would stand in the middle and let the Laser Cyclone do its magic. Unfortunately, as more enemies spawn and things start getting hectic, you'll be required to move around more and more in order to avoid damage. Some of the vine enemies you will be able to take out by just dragging your Laser Cyclone near them, and as for the spitter enemies that spawn on the sides, they can mostly be ignored, and eventually your rocket items can take them out too. You will see later in this run when I am against the elite boss and there are tons of enemies all around me, that I accidentally catch my Laser Cyclone like 3 or 4 times in a row. Obviously this is bad, because it meant that I had to wait for the cooldown to finish before I could throw it out again and start dealing damage. I did not panic though, and focused on dodging attacks and staying on the platforms as best as I could, which prevented me from dying. This finally resulted in the third boss going down and the gold medal being secured. There isn't much else I can say about this trial, since it is one of those that just requires combat proficiency and learning a good Laser Cyclone kiting technique. To recap though, stay in the middle as much as possible, avoid the ground level, get the boss items when they drop, avoid damage no matter what by utilizing your 3-charge blink skill, buy an item or 2 along the way, save the containers for heals, and keep at it until you get a favorable run. As always, I greatly appreciate you choosing to watch this video, and I wish you the best of luck with the gold medal. Cheers.